average of 46,000 pieces of plastic in every square mile of ocean. Today we will discussing the amount of plastics that we have in our oceans, next, how plastics end up in our oceans, then the effects these plastics have on our ocean life and why we should care. And finally, changes we can make to help reduce our harmful impacts on the oceans. Much of the information I'm going to share with you today came from the Ocean Research Project, a nonprofit organization compiled of researchers and scientists that have sailed over 25,000 miles and years at sea studying the impact of plastic pollution on the marine ecosystem. First, let's discuss just how much plastic is actually in our oceans. According to the Ocean Research Project, there's an estimated 5.5 trillion pieces of plastic in the world's oceans. UC Santa Barbara's National Center for Ecological Analysis and Synthesis calculated that every year, 8 million metric tons of plastic end up in our oceans. That's equivalent to 5 grocery bags filled with plastic for every foot of coastline in the world. Now, global plastic production doubles every 11 years, so with projected growth in consumption, oceans are expected to contain more plastic than fish in weight by 2050. Now, we know we produce a lot of plastic, but how does it get into our oceans in the first place? About a fifth of marine litter is made up of fishing gear and other materials lost at sea, while the other 80% comes from land. Obviously, coastal towns, since they're close to the water, have a higher risk of their trash ending up in the ocean than towns more inland. Plastic is lightweight and easily blown into the ocean. But it's not just coastal town trash in the oceans. The United States ships much of its recyclables to other countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Turkey, South Korea, and China. In many places, the plastics are brought to loading sites near water in open containers while they wait to be loaded into shipping containers. The plastic is easily blown out of the containers with the wind. So, how does all this plastic affect the ocean life, and why should we care? I could probably go on for days about how the plastics in our oceans affect sea life, but I will touch base on just a few of them today. Most of us know that BPA in plastic is bad. BPA is now kept out of plastics advertised for children and pregnant or breastfeeding mothers. But not all plastic is BPA free. According to MayoClinic.org, research has shown that BPA can affect things like brain, prostate glands, blood pressure. It's also been shown to affect children's behavior. Dr. Sayado with the American Chemical Society states that in their study of the impact plastic debris has on our food chain, they found that toxic chemicals and plastics like BPA are breaking down in the oceans and being eaten by sea life. These aren't all large pieces of plastic. These are microscopic pieces of plastic being eaten. We are then eating the sea animals that have been ingesting the toxic chemicals, which basically means we are eating our own toxic waste. Plastic bags are a real issue for marine animals, such as sea turtles. According to SeaTurtles.org, they mistake the plastic bags for jellyfish and ingest them. This can cause blockages in their digestive system and eventually death. Another type of animal that's impacted by plastic is in our oceans is the seabird. According to National Geographic, plastic trash is found in 90% of seabirds, particularly plastic straws. A study published by University of Toronto found that a 67% decline in seabird population between 1950 and 2010, which was largely due to their consumption of plastics. So what do we do to help reduce the amount of plastics that end up in our oceans? The answer is simple. Avoid using single-use plastics as much as you can. You might be thinking, I don't see being waste-free as a viable option for my family. I completely understand. Living a waste-free life is a huge challenge and can be expensive. You do not have to go to that extreme. Making small changes in our lives can make a huge difference on our global production of plastics. One easy and inexpensive change you can make today is stop using single-use plastic straws. Instead, purchase a reusable straw. Data from straw manufacturers state that on average, the U.S. uses 500 million straws a day. This one I bought from finalstraw.com, cost me $25. It's made of stainless steel, comes with a carrying case and cleaning brush. keep it on my keychain and ask the waiter not to give me a plastic straw at restaurants. Another change you can make today is refraining from using plastic grocery bags. According to WasteManagementNorthwest.com, the United States uses an average of 14 billion plastic shopping bags each year. Just buy a cloth one. Some other changes you can make are packing real silver instead of using plastic silverware in your lunches. Do you use single-use plastic sandwich bags? Buy reusable, washable ones. So today, we've discussed the amount of plastics we have in our oceans, how plastics end up in our oceans, the effects these plastics have on our ocean and sea life, and why we should care, and finally, changes we can make to help reduce our harmful impacts on the oceans. Ladies and gentlemen, I have personally seen the effects plastic has on our oceans. I've lived in Hawaii 2006 to 2010. When I moved back to Hawaii in 2018, I was shocked to see the dramatic increase in the amount of plastics I was finding washed ashore. The very first beach I took my kids to, we spent our first hour there picking up plastic off the beach. This beach that only 10 years prior I never saw plastic at was now covered in it. I'm not saying we all need to drastically change our lives. What I am saying is we can make small changes in our lives that can drastically change the lives of marine life.